People often say they read to escape, to step out of their own life for a while, to not think about what's waiting for them. And on the surface, that makes sense. You enter someone else's world, you follow a different rhythm, you stop being entirely inside your own thoughts. But if you pay attention to what actually happens, it's not always escape. Because certain books don't take you away from yourself, they bring you closer. Not directly, that feels intentional, but as you read, something begins to shift. A sentence stays with you, a feeling surfaces that you hadn't named yet, a character moves through something in a way that feels familiar, and suddenly you're not as far from yourself as you thought you were. This is where the idea of escape becomes more complicated. Sometimes what we call escape is actually a way of approaching something indirectly. Because going straight into your own thoughts can feel too intense, too immediate. But reading gives you distance, a softer entry point. You're looking at something through someone else's words, which means you can stay with it a little longer without feeling overwhelmed. That's not avoidance, that's a different kind of access. And this is where reading starts to function as orientation. Not telling you where to go, not giving you answers, but helping you locate yourself emotionally. You begin to notice where you respond, what makes you pause, what creates resistance, what feels unexpectedly close. And those responses tell you something. They show you what's already present in you, even if you hadn't fully acknowledged it yet. If you move from reading straight back into your day, that awareness often fades. But if you take a page, just one blank page, and right after reading, you give that awareness somewhere to settle. Not to analyze it completely, just to hold it long enough to recognize it, acknowledge it. You might start with something simple. I thought I was reading to distract myself, but something about this stayed with me. And then you follow that. Write whatever comes to your mind, what stayed, what shifted, even slightly. You never have to force meaning out of it. Even noticing that a particular line felt heavier than the rest is enough. Because over time, this does something subtle. You stop seeing reading as something separate from your inner life. It becomes part of how you understand it, part of how you return to it without going in too abruptly. And your journal becomes the place where that return happens, not all at once, not in a fully formed way, just in small recognitions. Smaller phrases, larger sentences, small paragraphs, anything that feels comfortable. If you've ever picked up a book to get away from how you were feeling, but ended up feeling something more clear instead, you've already experienced this. So don't ask yourself, am I using reading to escape? Ask, what is this book quietly helping me face that couldn't approach directly? You don't ever have to give complete answers or perfect answers. You just have to take a small page and start writing. Write what the reading left behind within you. Because sometimes the way back to yourself doesn't come from looking inward immediately. It comes from stepping slightly outside and noticing what follows you there. And that's not escape, that's orientation, a quieter way of finding where you are and where you want to be.